And welcome back to Flashback Comics here in Woodbridge, Virginia. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Troy David Phillips here at Flashback Comics, and with me today, as per usual, Kevin Goswan. ComicsOnline.com.
ComicsOnline.com. And today is the first time I'm not wearing my Comics Online shirt. And instead, I'm wearing a bit of a throwback, the comic concert shirt from 2010.
2010? That was like 2010, like 4 years ago?
Right. Yeah, this year was our 6th annual comic concert, and you'll be able to check that out on the Comics Online website, some of the some of the audio and video.
Yeah, I was staring at the back of your shirt there.
Oh, right, yeah. The back's more interesting.
Yeah, see, comic concert with the Megas, Kirby Crackle, and Random Gibberish. That sounds cool just saying it.
Yeah,
a band called Kirby Crackle.
Kirby Crackle.
That's awesome.
That's the band that I was trying to think of. They're the guys who do that Green Lantern song. You've probably seen it on YouTube.
That's ridiculously awesome.
Maybe we'll link to it right down here.
So
this week,
in the time since we talked last, I took the opportunity to sit down and reread some old Marvel stuff. Every now and again, I like to refresh myself with some classic comic stuff. So I read the 9 issues of Skull the Slayer.
Really?
Yeah, I hadn't touched that book in years. I don't even remember what made me think about it, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to pull this out and reread it. And rereading it and reading the editorials and the letters pages and the art, the writer changes and the story directions, and characters died, characters were brought back, and I was like, wow,
in 9 issues.
This was much more abrupt than I remembered it being. But you know what else I read? It was even more fun than that.
What's that?
Richard Rider as Nova, the man called Nova, the human rocket, the ultimate superhero.
From the 70s.
From the 70s. I read issues 1 through 25. I'm now up to the part where it dovetails into the Fantastic Four, so I'll be reading the issues of that, and then Rom Space Knight, and then New Warriors. I'm gonna get the entire Richard Rider life cycle down, and then I'm gonna reread the Thanos Imperative up to the point where we're stuck in the Cancerverse. Now, we have Peter Quill, and we have Thanos, but we don't have Richard Rider. We have Sam Alexander. Sam Alexander's a cool Nova. Why don't we have Richard Rider? I think we're going to find out pretty soon. But before that happens, I wanted to reread as much of Richard Rider's life as I own as possible, and as it turns out, I actually own 90% of everything he appeared in.
Wow.
So I
don't own that much.
I'm going to read all of that.
Nice.
Yes.
That's fun stuff.
But before I can go too much farther with that, I'm going to have to read some of this week's comics. There's going to be a big pull. Do you know I took home 54 comics last week?
In 1 week.
In 1 week. My pull was 54 freaking comics.
I've had weeks like that. Not recently, but I've had weeks like that.
I can help you with that. You
have been helping me way too much.
So I've got some comics for this week.
Okay.
I'm jazzed and excited. I'm still behind the curve from last week's stuff. I'm getting caught up. But I did get a chance to check out from Image Comics, Imperial #1, and Genius #1 and #2. I actually want to check out, I've picked up #1 and #2 of the Superannuated Man, and I haven't read the silly things yet, but I did check out Dark Horse's The Dark Age and Deep Gravity, and both of those are really good reads.
Nice.
Deep Gravity has me all hooked in. You've got to check that out.
All right.
But let's get current. Let's talk about this week's stuff. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you sure?
Sure as I'm going to be.
Okay, because this might blow you away.
Blow me away with your comic picks.
Okay.
What's your first one of your top 5?
#1. Sensation Comics starring Wonder Woman. I am jazzed. We haven't had a Sensation Comics really since the late 1990s, and that was a revival, very, very briefly, for the return of the All-Star Squadron. They did Wonder Woman and Hawkgirl. I'll show you some of those. They're really pretty
Superman hadn't had a sensation until the New 52, because Lois versus Wonder Woman, that's a joke, kids. Ask your parents.
So Sensation Comics featuring Wonder Woman gives us Wonder Woman, written by Gail Simone, and she's in Gotham City, and she's fighting Batman villains. On the cover alone, there's the Joker, Harley Quinn, the Penguin, Two-Face, Mr. Freeze is also in this issue. It's awesome, people. I was just thumbing through it and going, wow, this is amazing. I'm trying hard not to let my enthusiasm make me say things that are terribly and woefully inappropriate.
Oh, the art is good too. Who's this artist?
Isn't it? Let's get in a little closer there. Here, hold on.
Oh, is it Van Cyver? Ethan?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Nice. That is good stuff.
Isn't it, though?
Do you subscribe to Gail Simone? Do you follow Gail Simone on the Twitters?
I have not been following her on Twitter, to tell the truth. I've not been following a lot of people on Twitter lately. I've been so busy rereading comics. I haven't had as much time for Twitter, for Facebook. And then I've been on YouTube. Some friends have sent me some links to videos. Said, hey, you like this kind of music? Check this out. I know you like these bands. You like these artists, so check these out. And I've been just all caught up with that. And reading 25 issues of Nova, 9 issues of Skull the Slayer, trying to get caught up with last week's books. Yeah, I'm up to the gills.
Right. The reason I say is because she's actually kind of well-rounded, and she's kind of very, very active and really interesting.
Yeah, I imagine as much. She'll be the keynote speaker at this year's Harvey Awards.
That sounds good. You're going to be there, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I'll be the fellow in the two-piece suit and the snappy tie and the insufferable smile on my face.
Insufferable. So insufferable that that Troy was in the advertising for this year. Seriously, his photo is in there. Who are you standing with?
George Perez.
George Perez, where you can't go to a con and George Perez not be there.
That's just awesome.
Yeah, and Troy with his stuff-eating grin.
Yeah. Well, I did eat a lot of stuff. The dinner at the Harvey Awards ceremony was amazing. The gift bags were incredibly generous. Special thanks to...
I like gift bag. I like free a lot.
There was so much stuff. I'll show you some. I still have them. They're sitting on my bookcase. I got some wonderful hardcovers, soft covers. It was fantastic.
Nice. And how much does it cost? What's the extra on top of going to the show?
I believe this year the dinner ticket is $137.
All right.
So, but it's worth every penny, people. It was amazing to actually be at the awards ceremony where Saga was nominated for 6 awards and won 5 out of 6 awards. It was great just to be there. And then, of course, to come back to the comic shop. And now you know why Saga sells so strongly and why it's so popular. It's because it's just so darn good. It's well written, well drawn. It's a beautiful comic.
Brian K. Vaughan is amazing. And by the way, I just recently started watching his show Under the Dome. I thought, oh, this is going to be stupid. It's Stephen King, same old man, but it's good. It's actually a good show, and it's got so many good actors in it. There's somebody from some show that you already like in that show. It's worth checking out.
Is that kind of like watching Silverado, where you're watching Silverado, and then there's Scott Glenn, and then there's Kevin Costner, and there's Danny Glover, and there's Kevin Kline, and there's John Cleese.
That's an old cowboy movie, folks. Ask your parents.
Jeff Goldblum,
right.
Arquette, Patricia Arquette, and yeah. So Kev, what have you got for me here? Sensation Comics, Wonder Woman. Come check that out.
Sensation Comics #1.
Yes.
All right. So, like I say, I am a big Marvel guy, but this it's a fairly light Marvel week this week. But then I saw all new X Factor.
Powered by Serval Industries.
All new X Factor. And the thing is, I have been such a huge X Factor fan, although I have to admit I'm very behind. And this one's got Warlock on the cover, and I've been a Warlock fan since, New Mutants number 21, 12, 11? It's got a 1 in it, and it's 2 digits. That's all I know. Anyway, first appearance of Warlock, I was like, what? Who is this Bill Sienkiewicz guy? And, of course, that's not how you pronounce it. Sienkiewicz. But when I was, 12, that's how I said his name. But then he became one of my very favorite characters ever. And I saw this today, and I said, oh, I gotta get this, because I love Warlock.
For people who really need to know, All New X Factor is being written by Peter David. That makes it amazing.
It does.
Really, truly. There we go.
What's your next one?
Well,
let me just hold your mic yet again. You get your next one. Oh.
Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, BattleStar Galactica 1880.
What?
I know, right? BattleStar Galactica 1880. It's Battlestar Galactica
Let me see
reimagined in steampunk fashion.
Are you kidding me?
No, I am not. Now, Dynamite Entertainment has already given us Legendary, the steampunk adventure, written by Bill Willingham of Fables and Salvation Run and Elementals. I actually go all the way back to Dungeons and Dragons with Bill and
with the Fiend Folio.
Yes. The one-page advertisements in Marvel Comics, and I mean, look at those Cylons. I mean, those are incredible. Here, hold this.
This is a huge Cylon. I don't know why I'm carrying two.
Well, that's because I need my hands free.
Right. Two huge Cylons.
I mean, this is incredible. This is beautiful. I love this comic. I absolutely love Battlestar Galactica anyway. And I will admit that the Battlestar Galactica 1980s series, it just wasn't really that good. It was set up to fail, unfortunately, because I loved the show, I loved the concept, and the idea that we were going to finally find Earth. And then we were going to cut the budget and not do a lot of special effects, and we were going to follow these children around while an Air Force colonel tried to make a career and track down the evil alien children, and we saw no Cylons. We got none of that outer conflict.
That was a really stupid show.
We had lost a lot of the members of the original cast, and no real explanations about where these characters went. However, the Battlestar Galactica comic book by Dynamite has been a lot better in that regard. We have extrapolated farther on the voyage of the Galactica and the fleet. It's based on the late 1970s show.
Well, they drew the two together in that Dynamite comic.
Yes. So, and now we've brought this together into a steampunk sensibility, and steampunk is very popular, but. So is this literally supposed to be a throwback to 1880 in the same continuity? Well, I don't know about the continuity. I've not had time to read into the story to get us caught up to that point. I don't imagine so much. This is the first issue, so yeah. But here's my guess: if you follow the show, which the comics followed right along, and by the way, check them out; they're excellent. Yes, I bet you Troy can get you some. I can help you with that. Yeah, but. The thing is, all of this has happened before, and so in that universe, things just kind of cycle through, and this could be just another or a previous cycle. So readers of this particular comic won't necessarily need to be steeped in the lore of either the original series or the reimagined series. Just hop right in and have a fantastic steampunk adventure. Sounds like good times. I think so. I'm excited. I might have to as soon as I'm done, yeah, you know what? I'll have to make sure I drop one in your box tomorrow. So, what's number 2 on your hit parade, Kev? Number 2 on my hit parade, and this is almost just a reminder to myself to catch up on this wonderful, wonderful book. You talk about folks like Peter David who have done great work for a long period of time. Well, then there's Bill Willingham. Yeah. And he's done lots of wonderful things, including Fables, which is apparently on 143, which means I'm about 40 issues behind, which is terrible. Doesn't that make you feel awful? If it actually makes you feel any better, I'm pretty close to 2 years behind, 24 issues, I believe. I am behind. But I was fortunate enough to be current up to the Literals storyline, the Great Fables crossover, and then for the succeeding issues after that, but I just got behind in my reading, and Fables dropped off my radar. My wife is reading it and collecting it, so I always knew that I'd be able to get caught up by reading hers. Now, did you see that they made a game? I had heard this. I've not actually picked the game up myself, though. So Telltale Games, the same place that makes that makes the Walking Dead, the good Walking Dead game, not that console one, but the one that you can get on other things.
Oh my God, so good. The art is fantastic. It's like an immersive comic book.
Well, for those who don't know, Fables, the basic genesis of the story is Bill Willingham blending together characters from myth and fable, the Grimm's fairy tales, the 1001 Arabian Nights, and so on, bringing those characters together. We started out with a conflict with a hidden adversary. We've seen the Fable characters as they live in Fabletown in New York, a sort of hidden community amongst us and yet apart from us, regular people. And the story has just gone on from there. We resolved the battle with the adversary, and we moved on farther. Characters like Jack, the Jack of Fables. There was a series that spun out from the mainline Fables
For a long time.
Yes, indeed. We saw that offshoot story, Werewolves in the Heartland. We've seen the other splinter title, Fairest. And they're all there. Red Riding Hood and Snow White and Rose Red, Cinderella, Bigby, the big bad wolf, Bigby. They're all there. It's wonderful stuff. Pick up Fables. You can actually get the earlier pieces in trade format, trade paperback collections. There are 20 volumes.
A lot. There's a lot to be had, and so you can have a good long time enjoying this. I'm looking forward to getting back into it.
It's just what's surprising, though, and not really surprising given the talent of Bill Willingham, but that it's been so consistently good for so very long. It's like Mr. Willingham had not run out of ideas. He must have just, you know what? I'll just write this thing forever, and there it was. It just flowed out of him like water down the mountain.
Well, and the origin of the Once Upon a Time, originally Once Upon a Time was a licensed version of Fables. Bill Willingham was on board to do that with ABC Disney, and then ABC Disney said, wait a minute, we already do fairy tales. Never mind, dude, you're fine. We're just going to do our own thing, which I can't blame them for, but at the same time, I'm really bummed because this is a fantastic story. It's a better story than Once Upon a Time.
To be fair, though, for ABC and for Disney, Bill's Fables is really, truly much more mature and probably a more mature content than what ABC Disney would have been interested in advancing.
It has earned that Vertigo logo.
Yes, it does. It's not gratuitous, it's not over the top, but it doesn't downgrade, it doesn't talk down to your intelligence. It's in some ways like Sandman, where Sandman also blends together many different mythologies, and Neil Gaiman, he writes to an intelligent reader. Bill Willingham writes to an intelligent reader. But I strenuously recommend picking that thing up.
Just get that first trade. Come in here and Troy will help you out.
Yes, I will.
What's your next one?
What's my next pick? Okay. I am so jazzed about this book. It's from Image Comics, and I've been reading it up to this point. We're up to issue number... issue number 9. Manifest Destiny. Oh my goodness, I'm in love with this book. It is basically the Lewis and Clark expedition, and as they journey into the undiscovered country, making notes and taking their surveys, they encounter a variety of cryptozoic perils. They encounter a variety of megafauna and creatures seemingly ripped from the pages of Indian mythology, Native American mythology. And it's funny as you read the comic along and you read the journals that they keep, what they redact out of their journals.
That sounds like
and
fun.
Why. And it's not just the two. Along with them is a cast of characters that support them, some conscripts, some soldiers, guides, etc. So there's an ensemble of personalities, and there are a variety of threats, perils, menaces.
Sacagawea.
Some of those perils and menaces come from without, and some of them actually come from within the group itself. The group is not wholly unified. We do have some ne'er-do-wells, misfits, and cutthroats thrown in our mix. But Manifest Destiny, Chris Dingus, Matthew Roberts, and Owen Guiney. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing Mr. Guiney's name correctly. It is a wonderful book, and the first story arc has been collected in trade paperback format. Image has been pretty good about those trade formats, so you can get the trade paperback and pick up issues that you've missed, sit down and read it all in one big arc, then jump back in for the single issues and go forward from there. It's a great book. You should not miss it. And I'm talking to you, Kev.
I might have to get that first trade. It sounds really cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's, the giant mosquito, the plant men that, infect you and turn you into a wandering moss monster.
I've met the giant mosquito since I've moved here to Virginia.
Oh, it's incredible. So, I can help you with that.
Those are real. They live behind my house. My next one. I've got an Image comic as well.
Oh my God! Is that a Brubaker Phillips joint?
I've been a big fan of Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips.
Fatale.
You know what? And I've never read Fatale. I hear it's good.
Oh my goodness!
I hear it's good.
I think I can hook you up with a trade.
I might have to check that out.
I think you should.
But they have done many things. A little bit of Wildstorm, a little bit of Vertigo. Their team ups are to be enjoyed by all adults. Some things are all ages, but not usually. They're usually
not
more.
usually their stuff. Ed Brubaker, I've enjoyed his sensibilities steeped in crime noir. I've enjoyed Velvet. Prior to Velvet, of course, Fatale we mentioned, and Ed Brubaker, driving force behind the Captain America Winter Soldier story arc.
Right.
He kind of brought that. Not really. Well, it's more of a political thriller in the film, The Winter Soldier, but in the comics, Ed Brubaker found a way to bring Bucky Barnes to a modern audience and give us back that character without cheapening his death.
Which is so hard.
Yeah, building in all the elements of the Cold War and building Bucky up as the Winter Soldier to being a canny, credible threat to Captain America. And then, of course, Cap bringing the Winter Soldier back to our side, and now we have two great characters. You can also see the Winter Soldier not only in the recently ended Bitter March miniseries, but in the All New Invaders. Invaders, which features Cap and Winter Soldier and the Torch and Namor. It's, yeah. All new? Well, not exactly. All of these characters actually did appear in the Second World War. But before I go too far off on that tangent, we were talking about Brubaker and Phillips.
Brubaker and Phillips. Oh, this is the fade.
Phillips.
This is the fade out, and this is your standard crime noir sort of thing. This looks so good. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, I mean, the artwork is beautiful.
They're at the Brown Derby. A little bit of history and culture there.
Yeah, when we say crime noir, I mean, we are talking about that tough, hard-bitten, detective thriller with the exposition boxes overlaying, giving us some gritty descriptions of what's going on around us. It would very much have been that kind of Philip Marlowe black and white detective type story. I think of stories like The Thin Man.
Yeah.
That's where those sensibilities come from. It's cinematic in its presentation, and it's just really. Their work together on other things have been really good, so I'm excited about getting started with Fade Out based on the history of these two.
All right, so what's your next one?
Okay, now, something for all ages. We covered a little more mature ground there, and props to Image Comics for putting out titles that appeal to adults and more mature readers, but let's not ignore the younger readers, and for someone who just wants something a little more lighthearted. Fans of Cartoon Network, brace yourselves.
It's back.
Super Secret Crisis Wars. Now, we've had 2 issues of the main title up to this point, and we've also seen the tie-in issue with Johnny Bravo. This is the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy. So the long story slightly shorter here is that the villains of Ben 10, Samurai Jack, Dexter's Lab and the Powerpuff Girls have captured their principal nemesis, but they've also opened up portals into other Cartoon Network worlds. So we've captured Ed, Edd, and Eddy, and they've sucked along into this great adventure. We peered into the world. We sent a robot into Johnny Bravo's world, and that was disastrous. And now the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy. Billy and Mandy, of course, are the two youngsters that managed to trick the Grim Reaper into being their best friend and having to play with them all the time. Billy is a lovable goofball, is just very breezy and very alive and animated, and Mandy is the somewhat darker, more sinister, cute little girl.
Not cute. Not cute. She's angry. She would yell at you for that.
Well, but she's adorable in her angriness.
Right. And then, of course, their tag-along, Death.
Is the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And it's a wonderful story. It's good for all ages. Fans of Cartoon Network, come on board for the super secret Crisis War. This tie-in, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and we're not done yet. Thank you, Louise Simonson.
Oh, is that who's writing this?
Yep.
I took pictures of Louise Simonson several times while walking around San Diego. I would see her all over she was all over the streets. She was a streetwalker, that Wheezy. I have to hassle them like I did last. They're wonderful people, Walt and
I've
Louise.
met Walt Simonson and interacted with him at conventions more so than Louise, but I did actually meet the two of them together back when they were working on X Factor.
Right.
For Marvel.
Yeah.
Walt was just segueing away from Thor, and he was a wonderful guy. He responded to my enthusiasm about his Thor work by drawing a sketch of Beta Ray Bill and giving it to me. Thank you, Mr. Simonson.
A very generous guy.
And Louise was happy to talk about not only X Factor, but Power Pack, and, working with Walt. They're a very cute couple.
They really are. And the funny thing is, walking around San Diego Comic-Con this year, every time I would see them, they would just be, just chatting, just walking together, chatting, having a great time, smiles on their faces, and it just made me happy to see them again and look forward to more of their work.
And while we're talking about the Simonsons, had you had an opportunity to read the Walt Simonson book Ragnarok from IDW?
It's still in my box right behind Mark.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Yeah,
we should close the deal on that, because
really should.
That is an amazing book. I can't wait to see Mr. Simonson so I can get an autographed copy and tell him that I think his work is phenomenal. IDW,
He knows.
Ragnarok.
He's humble, but he knows. He's got to know.
And that's the thing. He is humble.
Yeah, he really. Yeah, just a regular guy. Awesome.
Yeah.
So I'll move on to my next one.
I'm
another
jazzed.
thing. When I first went to my old favorite comic store, Comic City in San Diego, no longer exists, but it's where ComicsOnline.com came from. The owner there said, "Hey," just handed me this big guy and Rusty the Boy Robot, the big giant Dark Horse extra super large edition, and said, "Nobody's buying this. Will you read it and tell me what you think?" And just said, "Here, take it. Go, get out of here." And it was fantastic. The art, Jeff Darrow is an amazing artist, and in this Dark Horse Presents, this is, of course, with every Dark Horse Presents, you've got multiple stories. The story in here is both written and drawn by Jeff Darrow rather than Frank Miller.
Now, that's Jeff Darrow, also of Hard Boiled?
Yeah.
And Shaolin Cowboy?
Exactly.
Oh my God, this man is phenomenal.
Yeah.
His work is beautiful.
He's got such detailed line work. It's unparalleled.
I put him stylistically, and I certainly don't mean to make any unfavorable comparisons. This is all intended to be complimentary. But Gary Frank does some similar things that I really like. Gary Frank.
Ooh, what?
He did Action Comics with Jeff Johns. He did some Superman work.
Oh, yeah, I'm not a Superman fan.
And Frank Quietly, All-Star Superman with...
Frank Quietly?
Yeah.
But he's got a sort of a different... I could see where you think, with the shading and the wrinkles.
There are some similarities, and I mean those similarities to be complimentary. Beautiful stuff. So, Rusty and the Big Guy.
Yeah, good stuff. And there was a cartoon that was quickly forgotten. And
I didn't forget.
And toys from Burger King, maybe McDonald's. I think Burger King.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I think I still have those toys. What's your next one?
Okay, so Dark Horse Presents, ladies and gentlemen, come get that. It's an anthology title, comes out every month, has multiple stories featured in Dark Horse Comics.
Wait a minute, it's every month? It used to be quarterly.
I do believe that it has been moved to And now they don't tell me what the frequency is in the legal indicia. They used to tell you that.
They did used to tell you that.
Well, here, you look for that. While you're looking for that, I'm going to talk to these people about my next pick. This is from the Top Cow imprint at Image, Genius, number 3. Okay, now, if you've missed out on the first 2 issues of Genius, the main character, her name is Destiny. She was a young girl whose parents were killed in the crossfire involving the police, and so she has grown up hating the police. She's in Los Angeles. She unifies LA street gangs into a viable army, and she forces a confrontation. Now, here's the thing about Destiny. Destiny is brilliant. She is a tactical genius. She learned about the game of chess when she was very young, and she took right to it, moving the pieces around, learning, the role of the pawn, the bishop, the rook, the knight, the queen. She is looking at this conflict between the LA street gangs that she's brought together and the LAPD as a giant chess game. And with her tactical genius, she is manipulating this conflict for much bigger aims. She wants this to roll beyond the mayor's reach and get into the realm where the National Guard is brought in. She is going for a much larger agenda than what we've been able to determine in simply the first 2 issues. This is the 3rd issue, though, and I'm just absolutely hooked. So here it is, Genius, number 3. I've still got 1s and 2s, so pounce on this. From Image Comics, Top Cow Productions, you want this.
This looks really good. I almost want to drop some, St. Louis bad reference in here, but really, God, this art is awesome.
It is.
I kind of want these. Yeah.
Mark Bernardin, Adam Freeman, and Afua Richardson.
Nice.
Yeah, I think everyone should check out Genius, at least if you're over the age of 16.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? My first impulse was to insult the guy who designed the logo there, because it's like one of these modern metal bands where you're like, what? I can't even read that. What's going on with that logo? Oh, it says Genius?
Yep.
I had to work too hard for that.
Yeah. No room for fun making here. This is good stuff.
It does look great inside.
Yeah, doesn't it though?
Yeah.
So you need me to drop those in your box?
Maybe. My final one for this week. IDW. My final one, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And this is by Kevin Eastman. This is the 2014 annual.
Yeah, look at that. Slick prestige format, square bound, high gloss cover. Look at that.
This is a nice, thick book. You have, it looks like, as you might expect, a Kevin Eastman drawn book from back in the day, but with modern printing standards, where you've got these high gloss pages, but you can still see that his art style, his approach to the artwork has not changed.
Oh no!
It's still gritty. He's still going in there, first with the black, and then going in and doing highlights with some white. And you can see that these are photographs, because you can kind of get a little bit of color in, a little bit of a brown wash.
Yeah.
In this as well. It's really beautiful artwork. And then there are a few pages that have got a little bit of color.
Splash of color.
Little splash of color.
I found, now I was actually working in a comic book store at the time the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was released, and I observed, while I was not a subscriber of the title at that time, I did observe that from issue 1 to issue 2, the artwork seemed to have improved, and from issue 2 to issue 3, the artwork improved again. So it was like the two of them together, Eastman and Laird, were definitely honing their craft as it went on. And for all of the terrible knockoffs that followed the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they stayed true to themselves. They were an intelligently written satire, but they took themselves seriously enough. They were a satire, they were a parody, but they didn't make themselves into a laughingstock. And obviously, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have sustained the test of time. We're talking, what, 1985, 1986?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a really long time here, and they're still with us, so they must be doing something right.
In fact, I think we might be leaning on their 30th anniversary.
Oh.
We're right up against that. That's a long time.
Oh, please stop
that we've been
talking.
enjoying them. Except for perhaps that latest movie. It's pretty. Just watch it with the sound off, maybe, or just get some stills.
I haven't seen it yet, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm still going in with an open mind, and I've seen some absolutely terrible entries into the Turtles franchise. So I'm holding out hopes for this one. Haven't seen it yet. It's on my list of things to do. I just need to pull my head out of all these comics that I'm reading.
I think that new one might make you miss Vanilla Ice.
Nothing is going to make that happen.
It might make Michael Bay. Just go back to doing Bad Boys and stuff like that. Those are great movies. No more Transformers, no more Turtles. You're bad at it.
He said that stuff, Mr. Bay. I did not.
I think you're bad at it. I think you're great at being in an action movie with humans only.
Oh, my. All right. So no more Michael Bay bashing.
It wasn't mean. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. One man's opinion here,
I could get rude about it, but I won't. I'm sure
please.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, thank you.
I have no idea.
All right, so.
Might kick puppies, I'm not sure.
Kick you. Kick puppies. Indeed. So there's our picks for the week.
What's this week? What's Wednesday of this week?
That would make Wednesday of this week August the 20th.
August the 20th already.
Yes. August 20th, 2014, ladies and gentlemen.
September's climbing up on us.
Yes, it is. Summer is almost over. It'll soon be time for the kids to get back into school, get back into the routine of academia, interacting with all their friends. Hey, what did you do all summer? I had a fantastic time. Let me tell you all about it. I tell you what, if I were back at school, I'd be excited. Actually, at this moment in time, I'm excited about not being back in school.
I would like to be back in school. I was that guy who wanted to. Let's just do one more year. I really loved school.
I just actually want to be 16 again.
Yeah, me too.
Let's not lie.
Time travelers, just pick us up and make it. No, that doesn't help. What do we need? We need people that make us 16 again.
You know what we need? We need some of those golden apples from Asgard. It won't
Walt Simonson, hook us up.
Yeah, please.
We know you've got the Asgard Connect.
Yeah.
So you'll see us not only next week doing this again.
Yep.
But you'll see us at Baltimore Comic-Con, and you'll see us at Wizard World Richmond in Richmond, Virginia, just south of here. And looks like we're going to have a panel doing this right here, talking.
Oh, my goodness.
So join us there.
Yes, indeed.
Richmond, Virginia.
But first, Baltimore Comic-Con, September 5, 6, 7.
Right down here in the notes.
Yes. Who's got a VIP ticket? This guy. Who's going to the Harvey Award dinner with his beautiful wife? This guy. That's right.
Whose wife told him, "You do what you want. I don't care. Don't involve me in this."
This guy. Oh, Kevin.
She meant well.
I'm sure she does.
But anyway, yeah, that's. It looks like that's our show for this week.
Yes, indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you would please
like us on Facebook,
subscribe on YouTube,
and
follow us on Twitter.
All of the places.
Yes, indeed. Go to Yelp, write a review, come into the store, talk comics with us. We'll have a great time. Until then, we'll see you all next week.
See you then.
From leaping tall buildings to going off like gamma bombs. Switch your internet browser to ComicsOnline.com.